Since when did needing ibuprofen just to get through your day become normal? According to the Center for Disease Control, women are significantly more likely than men to experience chronic pain. And that gap? Well, it only widens during perimenopause and menopause when our hormone levels begin to shift. Plus, once winter hits, those aches and pains and stiffness become even harder to ignore, thanks to shorter days, colder temps, and less exercise or daily movement. Today, we're continuing my Countdown to the New Year series with a replay of a previous episode that dives into a common complaint I hear, especially this time of year. Why am I so sore? In this episode, I'm peeling back the curtain on why hormone imbalance and inflammation are often behind chronic pain and what you can do to calm things down naturally. So, take a quick potty break and get ready to ditch that heating pad, and I'll be back to break it all down in less than 90 seconds. Welcome to Are You There Midlife? It's me, Monica. Hi, I'm Monica Topetti, wife, mom, health coach, and hormone imbalance survivor. And I'm on a mission to help women in midlife balance hormones naturally without drugs, doctors, or divorce. Are you tired of dealing with heavy, painful periods that look like a crime scene? Are you sick of struggling with anxiety, fatigue, or brain fog that... What was I just saying? Are you frustrated doing all the things to lose weight but still packing on pounds faster than a real housewife changes Birkins? Girl, you are in the right place. Join me each week as I spill the tea on what to expect in perimenopause and beyond. From IBS to insomnia, bloating to funky body odor, I'll unpack all the weird stuff happening inside our midlife bodies. Plus, give you the latest science and holistic solutions to manage it all. So ditch the Spanx and hop on board the Hot Mess Express. Let's do this. Hey, beautiful. Welcome back to the show. So, as I mentioned in the intro, today's episode is all about aches and pains. And it's the next hormonal symptom we're tackling in my new fall series, Perimenopausal Symptoms from A to Z. Now, while you might associate body aches and arthritis more with menopause than with perimenopause, the belief that you have to be older to have arthritis is a myth. Arthritis actually encompasses more than 100 different conditions. And some of these conditions, like inflammatory arthritis, actually affect the entire body, since they are in reality autoimmune diseases, meaning your immune system goes a little haywire and attacks your healthy cells, causing inflammation in the process. But just what causes your immune system to go haywire in the first place? In today's episode, you will learn 4 contributing hormonal causes of joint pain, body aches, and inflammation. How perimenopause and menopause can accelerate inflammation in the body, traditional medicine's approach versus functional nutrition's approach to reducing and even eliminating symptoms. Plus, I'm going to share the exact 3-step protocol I take my clients through to nourish, detoxify, and optimize their gut and hormones and reduce or even eliminate pain and inflammation. Now, not all pain is due to inflammation. There can be many underlying causes like an injury, infection, or even nerve damage. But for many people, especially women, chronic pain has an inflammatory component that not only helps to perpetuate ongoing pain, but prevents healing and tissue repair. In fact, inflammation is so common that it's estimated up to 60% of all joint pain related to arthritis can be attributed to inflammation. Inflammation is a lot like the warning light in our car telling us, hey, something's not right here. Time to look under the hood. Unfortunately, When was the last time you went to your doctor complaining of joint pain or inflammation and he asked you about your diet or stress level or suggested testing your hormones? For the most part, traditional medicine is focused on treating symptoms, usually through medication or surgery, and it usually focuses on a treatment protocol that works for the masses. And that's fine, especially if it's a medical emergency when you need immediate intervention. But remember when I said most of the medical research up to this point on inflammation has been conducted on male mice and men? The problem is most women with pain and inflammation have not been studied. We're just thrown into the treatment for the masses without regards to our hormonal differences or the huge hormonal shift we all go through called the menopausal transition. In contrast, a holistic health approach focuses on identifying and treating the underlying causes of inflammation and then creating a personalized plan that looks at a person's entire lifestyle. It's especially helpful in relieving chronic conditions in women caused by inflammation that traditional medicine cannot effectively address. Conditions like leaky gut and digestive issues, eczema, joint pain, allergies and migraines, fibromyalgia, endometriosis and fibroids, metabolic syndrome and insulin resistance, and yes, of course, subclinical hormonal imbalances. Now, many of us going through perimenopause or menopause will go to our doctor and ask him to test our hormones when it comes to symptoms like hot flashes or fatigue or maybe even low libido. But did you know that chronic pain and inflammation can also be a sign of a hormonal imbalance? Let's break down the role that each major hormone plays in the process of inflammation. And then I'm going to share with you how you can know exactly which of these hormones is out of whack without ever stepping foot inside a doctor's office. Beginning with hypothyroidism. So the thyroid gland is this butter-shaped organ, or butterfly-shaped organ, I should say, in your neck that produces hormones that regulate metabolism, body temperature, heart rate, and protein production. When the thyroid becomes impaired, we know it as underactive thyroid or hypothyroidism. What's happening is the thyroid is no longer producing enough hormones, and that can lead to a number of symptoms, including fatigue, weight gain, constipation, and yep, you guessed it, joint and muscle pain. For a deep dive into what causes hypothyroidism during perimenopause or menopause, along with a complete list of symptoms, listen to episode 15, which I'll go ahead and link in today's show notes. Now, hypothyroidism can cause muscle and joint aches in several ways. First, it can lower carnitine levels. It can also cause excess protein deposits and mitochondrial malfunction. And it can contribute to fluid retention in the joints and soft tissues. And that can lead to swelling and stiffness, as well as nerve compression. It can also slow down your metabolism. And this causes a lack of energy as well as possibly pain in your musculoskeletal system. This is exactly what happened to my hormone coaching client, Teresa. Teresa was a nurse who originally came to me complaining of severe fatigue, chronic inflammation, and stubborn weight that she tried everything to lose. She had been diagnosed with hypothyroidism and was under the care of her doctor, who put her on Synthroid, which is a prescription for increasing your thyroid production. While her thyroid levels, she was getting tested regularly, were finally back to normal, she was still constantly tired and constantly in pain. Teresa and I had been working together for a couple of months when her boyfriend surprised her with a 4-day birthday celebration at the Disneyland Resort. She was over the moon. She was feeling better than she had in years, and she told me that she couldn't wait to go on all the rides and treat herself to some of her favorite amusement park food. But when we hopped on a coaching call about a week later, she just didn't sound like herself. Teresa went on to tell me she had returned from her trip completely wiped out and spent the last 2 days in bed dealing with severe joint and muscle pain. And yes, she had been taking her Synthroid. But it all worked out. Teresa jumped right back into her program that I had created for her, and within a week, she was feeling like herself again. But the point of the story is that when it comes to chronic pain and inflammation, medication alone often isn't enough. It can require a lifestyle change to put your symptoms into remission and return your body back to a state of homeostasis or body in balance. More on that in a bit. The second hormone imbalance that can cause or contribute to body aches and pains is low estrogen. Estrogen deficiency, or having lower than optimal estrogen levels, has been repeatedly linked to a variety of joint and muscle issues, including osteoarthritis, which occurs when the cartilage between joints weakens and wears down. Estrogen not only influences the way our joint tissues help with bone production and rebuilding, but it also assists in promoting muscle growth and decreasing muscle breakdown. Estradiol, our primary estrogen hormone and the estrogen most prevalent in reproductive health, has been shown in clinical studies to prevent joints from weakening, protecting us from osteoarthritis, and reducing the likelihood of joint replacement. And since our estrogen starts to decline beginning in perimenopause, it's often a contributing factor in joint and body inflammation. Now, I talk more about the connection between low estrogen and osteoarthritis specifically in episode 36 of the podcast, where I share a story about 90210 alum Jenny Garth, who gets really candid about her aches and pains that began in perimenopause. I'll link that episode in today's show notes as well. Low estrogen can cause muscle and joint aches in several ways, including decreasing bone mineral density, which contributes to osteoporosis and osteopenia, and by causing fibromyalgia-like symptoms such as fatigue, sleeping problems, and all-over body pain. Now, for a deep dive into low estrogen, including what causes it and along with a complete list of symptoms, listen to episode 20 of the podcast, which I will link also in today's show notes. The third hormone imbalance that can cause or contribute to body aches and pains is progesterone deficiency. Progesterone is widely known to be anti-inflammatory. This may be partly due to the fact that our body can convert progesterone into cortisol, which is actually one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory workhorses in our body. More on cortisol in a minute. In studies, progesterone has been shown to actually reduce neuropathic pain, which is a complex chronic pain involving nerve damage. Progesterone is also thought to play a role in bone metabolism and may even have a protective effect on cartilage. In addition, fluctuating progesterone levels can play a contributing role in pelvic pain, including such conditions as endometriosis and PMDD, or premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Progesterone is also known as the relaxing hormone because it has a mildly sedative effect, which can help you fall asleep faster and experience fewer sleep disruptions. But when progesterone is deficient, the opposite can be true, and that can have a significant effect on our aches and pains. Because our musculoskeletal system needs at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep each night to repair itself daily. In fact, in a study published in Arthritis and Rheumatology, researchers found that the number one predictor of widespread pain, especially in adults age 50 and over, is non-restorative or disruptive sleep. For a deep dive into progesterone deficiency, along with a complete list of symptoms, go ahead and check out episode 15, which I'll link in today's show notes as well. And the fourth hormone imbalance that can cause or contribute to body aches and pains is excess cortisol or adrenal fatigue. Now, most of us understand that psychological stress can have physical manifestations, from headaches to joint pain to even lower back pain, and it can cause swelling, pain, and even tissue damage. That's because when we're stressed, our body pumps out the hormone cortisol. This release from our of cortisol from our adrenal glands is intended to be short term, to handle a serious, unexpected situation, like a swerving car coming towards you on the highway or a mad dash of Black Friday shoppers at Target. Then it returns to normal levels. While that's not a problem in the short term, chronic or ongoing stress and stimulation of the adrenal glands can actually impair the production of cortisol, and that can allow inflammation to run amok in your body. In fact, according to a study published in the Journal of the American Physical Therapy Association, chronic stress can cause muscle breakdown, pain, and fatigue, among other symptoms. It also affects your body's immunity, making you more susceptible to infection and more at risk for autoimmune conditions. For a deep dive into impaired adrenal function, along with a complete list of symptoms for elevated cortisol and adrenal fatigue, check out episode 17, which I'll link in the show notes. So now that you understand a little bit more about how a hormone imbalance may be driving your chronic pain, what can you do to drive down inflammation naturally? In a minute, I'm going to share with you the exact 3-step protocol to help optimize your hormones and return your body back to balance. But first, if you suspect a hormone imbalance might be responsible for your body aches, joint pain, or even fibromyalgia or arthritis, how do you know which of your hormones might be out of whack? Well, that's exactly what I help you figure out when you take my free hormone symptom profile assessment at bit.ly/take-my-hormone-quiz. First, this assessment is going to tell you if you likely have a hormone imbalance, even if nothing is showing up in your blood work. Second, it's going to reveal which main hormone is driving your chronic pain, so you can finally focus on what your body actually needs to heal. It's quick, it's easy, and it's already helped nearly 2,200 midlife women uncover the real root cause behind low energy, poor sleep, brain fog, and inflammation. So if you're over-the-counter meds that help your joint pain sometimes, or maybe have even stopped working altogether, head to bit.ly/take-my-hormone-quiz or just click the link in today's show notes. In the meantime, I want to share a preview of the exact 3-step protocol I take all of my clients through to eliminate inflammation, optimize hormone production, and return their bodies to balance. Are you ready? Let's go. Step number 1 is nourish. Focus on foods that are anti-inflammatory, rich in antioxidants, and gut and liver supporting, like salmon, berries, nuts and seeds, and green leafy veggies. And for dessert, dark chocolate and cacao nibs. Step number 2 is detoxify. Detoxify your body of foods that increase the inflammatory response in your body due to toxins, chemicals, food sensitivities, or even a known hormonal imbalance. In general, foods to avoid include commercially raised red meat and processed meats, refined grains like white rice, white pasta, white bread, and breakfast cereal, fried foods, foods high in added sugar, trans fats, vegetable and seed oils, and GMOs like squash, corn, and soy. There are also some food groups you want to avoid if you have a known hormone imbalance. So, for example, if you have hyperthyroidism, you want to avoid nightshades like tomatoes, eggplants, and peppers. If you have impaired adrenal function, you want to stay away from foods that contain goitrogens like coffee and foods high in histamines like citrus fruits. And if you have estrogen dominance, progesterone deficiency, or PCOS, you want to stay away from foods that contain phytoestrogens like soy, legumes, beans, peanuts, dried fruit, and beer. And step number 3 is optimize. You want to optimize your body's natural detoxification system, your liver and your gut, which is our body's first line of defense against inflammation, through targeted supplementation, which includes a high-quality probiotic of 100 billion or more CFUs, as well as the elimination of known endocrine disruptors like phytolates and fragrances in your personal care, cleaning, and household products. So, there you go. 4 hormone-related causes of body aches, joint pain, and arthritis, and my exact 3-step protocol to eliminate inflammation naturally. Join me back here next Tuesday for the next episode in our special fall series, where I'll unpack 5 unusual and surprising symptoms of menopause. Hey friend, can I call you friend? Because I already feel like we're friends in my head. Did this podcast teach you something, make you laugh, or feel less like an alien? If so, I would be so incredibly grateful if you could take just 60 seconds to rate, review, and subscribe. That is the #1 way you can thank me and support the show. Until next week, stay cool and keep away from sharp objects.